Hello, I'm Derek Wheatley, and welcome to episode 59 of the Wheatley podcast. Thank you very much to Claire for last week's episode. It was very enjoyable hearing all about her adventures on YouTube and her podcast and things like that. She got a couple of retweets and all that kind of stuff out during the week. So I hope as many people as possible listen to it. It was good crack for me, and she was dead sound to do it for us. This is coming out on the 7th. We're recording this on the Sunday, so it's Mother's Day today, but it'll be coming out on the 17th, which is Patrick's Day, obviously. So happy St. Patrick's Day if you're listening on that day, if you're into all that stuff. I was trying to think of it there today of St. Patrick's Day and of when was the last time I celebrated or went out or on Patrick's Day or whatever. It was back, I think it was like 2002, back in we were in a pub in the town called Dirty Harry's. And I was trying to watch an Arsenal game. They were playing Aston Villa, and I couldn't see the screen, and I got really kind of annoyed by that. And I thought, that's it for Paddy's Day. And I never looked back. So I'm keeping my word as well, but I won't have any problem doing that this year. We're trying to push the YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, do, if you wouldn't mind. We will start going visual soon enough. I got a HD camera finally, which is good. It's progress. Hopefully getting a new microphone this week, because this one is really shown up there last week when I was talking to Claire, and she had a proper microphone. I can hear the difference in the quality, so I'm looking forward to getting my microphone in the post this week. Live and Joyful came out this week. The usual stuff on Instagram, keep an eye out for that. Facebook Live is kind of dormant at the moment, and we might get back into it. But I'd say that's probably enough for me at the moment. I want to introduce my guest this week. He's the owner and founder of Ceelabb CBD store, and his name is Alan Clabby. How are you, Alan?
I'm good. How are you keeping today?
I'm all right, yeah. Do you know, I was thinking about that. The weather's very, and I know the weather's like a lame topic to start on. I get that, but it's like that Groundhog Day for the last 4 or 5 days, isn't it?
It's once you look out the window, it's raining. It's sunny. It's raining. It's sunny, and hailstones. We've had it all this week, I suppose.
Yeah, even the wind hasn't stopped.
No, this time last year it was scorching out. We were sitting out our back gardens, coming up to the first lockdown, and it was scorching sunny. And now this year is completely different.
Well, yeah, it's true, but the good thing is for me, at least for the podcast, that like this time last year I had freaked out and I was like, no, I'll just do it on my own. So I'm very happy to have guests in this year, and I'm going to stick with it. But let's start as we mean to go on. Could you give us a short history of your upbringing, please, Alan?
Yeah, sure. I suppose I grew up to probably about 7 years of age. I grew up in the city centre. Actually lived in the flats in town, and then eventually moved out to Crumlin. I had no decision making in that whatsoever. I was only 7 years old, and I was torn away from all my friends, and then I set up a new life in Crumlin, and now I suppose I live in Drimnagh at the moment, so I'm not too far away. I did get raised in a kind of a broken home, I suppose. My mum and dad would have got separated while I was young, and it was different to everybody else, different to a lot of people's upbringings, I suppose. I was visiting my dad and choosing horses, which was great because while all through the time I was all the time that my parents got separated, my dad collected me on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and we always went to visit my nanny and granddad, and that's just a ritual now, and it just became a thing. Even when I turned 18, I still done it every Tuesday, Thursday. We went down to my nanny and granddad's, and we got to visit them lots and lots. So yeah, that's my upbringing, I suppose. But I suppose it has good and bad about those two stories.
Yeah, look, it's actually, I was just thinking of the kind of, I suppose, the moving from one place to another at around the same age. I would have done the same. My parents would have separated around that age as well, so there was a bit of visiting that went in there. And we also got to see our grandparents as quite regularly, which is always nice. So it was kind of there's there's a kind of line there that's interesting. But so the second question, always the same. When did you first become aware of mental health?
I wouldn't really have a specific date on that, really. I suppose when I was working in construction, I worked in construction, I suppose, and then I've obviously left that since then. But when you work on the big sites, they started to kind of bring it in, and mental health week. I remember when that first came around, and just really then obviously now that they're growing into so much, the darkness into lights and stuff like that. That's when it kind of really kind of when I started to really notice it, when there was those big gatherings of lots of people that it has affected, and but haven't personally been affected by it. I'm a bit of an introvert, but I wouldn't consider it as a mental health issue. I feel very uncomfortable in certain situations, but I think that's just been an introvert, and I've only kind of realized that growing up, that's what it was when I was a kid. Even as a kid, I didn't know what it was, but now I know.
Yeah, and
now looking back at different situations, I'm thinking, right, that's because I was an introvert.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point, because when we're kids and we're not, we don't know what any of this stuff is like, and when we look back at it before we realize, we kind of beat ourselves up about it a little bit. But when we come become more aware of what exactly it could be, it's kind of like, oh no, I was just kind of looking after myself, like in the sense that I was an introvert. I would have been quite similar in that sense, an introvert, So yeah, I didn't actually realize about building sites and things like that they did those mental health awareness weeks, which is it's very encouraging.
The big guys would do it, not the little players. The big guys, where they're working with big corporations as well. They would definitely they want to project a certain image as well, I suppose. I suppose but definitely they do. And it's only getting more. I suppose it's only a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. And like, because we always hear about the big companies in tech and stuff doing it, but it's very encouraging that it's kind of being passed along, really, that a lot of people are doing it. So obviously we're going to be talking quite a bit about CBD on this episode. Some people, Alan, won't even know what CBD is, really. They may have heard it or heard about it, but they may not know what it is. Could you explain what it is for us, please?
Sure. So CBD, it's very well, a lot of people do know what it is, and a lot of people don't, and that's what we're trying to do, is just trying to educate one person at a time. That's all we can do. CBD is a compound found in cannabis. It's also found in hemp, and hemp is a variety of cannabis. Now, cannabis is hemp is a legal variety of cannabis, and it grows with low levels of THC. So THC is the psychoactive compound found in cannabis. So what's the best way to go about it? CBD is non-psychoactive. It doesn't get you high. You can do everything that you normally do. You can do a roadside drug test. It will not affect your day-to-day. And CBD is the top 5 reasons people would use CBD would be stress, anxiety, sleep. That's like our everyday customers. I suppose when you deal with one, it's like a domino effect. They'll all fall into place. And then you have pain and inflammation. So that's the main reasons people come to us. They probably want a more natural approach to dealing with their issues. That's it in a nutshell. There, it's been extracted. Well, I suppose it's the hemp is grown and then it's been extracted. There is over 150 different cannabinoids found in hemp. And so CBD is kind of the star of the show because it's the most prominent. So if you look on one of our certificates of analysis, you'll see CBD is all the way up the top here, where there's other cannabinoids found in it, and they will be in really small amounts. And then you'll see THC, which is 0.2% or less, which is the psychoactive compound. So it's just so tiny amounts in it. that it won't affect you whatsoever.
Yeah. When and why did you try CBD? How long ago was it when you first tried it?
Would have been 2017.
Right.
I was working in construction, as I mentioned before. I was working as an electrician, and I lost my job in 2010. I kind of managed to keep my job after the 2008 crash. I kept it for 2 years, then eventually lost it when there was no jobs whatsoever. I went back to college. I studied technical theatre, and then that kind of led me into the events industry. I was working in the events industry. I used to work on thousands of events from 2012 until 2018, and that industry is totally different to the construction industry. You work a lot longer hours. You don't start at 7 and finish at 3 o'clock. You generally rarely stop for a break. It's very physically demanding, and there's a lot of emptying vans and trucks and filling them up. So like if you're doing a 1-day gig, the equipment will be taken to the venue on the day, and you'll either operate the gig and you'll take it down that night, and you fill up. The issue for me was recovery and my knee as well. So when you fill up a lot of vans, you end up pushing a lot of boxes up ramps. They're all on wheels. All flight cases are on wheels, and I tended to use my right leg to give that extra push, just to give a little helping hand up the ramp. And doing that over time, I just my knee began to hurt. It was clicking, crunching, cracking. When I walk upstairs, it would crunch, and then when I bend it, it clicks. And it just at the end of a work week, it would just be really painful. And somebody in the job that working in the events game, somebody was vaping, and I didn't really know that they vaped. And I said to them, I didn't know you're a smoker or vapor or whatever. And he said, this is CBD. I use it for recovery. Helps me recover with the long work week, and helps me feel better and feel fresher going back into the work week. Because you're doing 60-70 hour weeks easy on the events game. You do, like if you're doing a long gig, you could do an 18-hour day. So eventually tried it. I felt the benefits from it, helping me manage pain, and that's when I kind of started to learn how it can help. And then I felt that I always kind of wanted to start a business. So I felt that if it helps me so much, that it would help others too. So that's my experience and when I tried CBD, and yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, I just wanted to I don't think I've spoken about it on the podcast about why I took it for the first time. Obviously, people on this podcast know about my mental health and the kind of severe anxiety, I suppose, at times that I have. And I can't remember, to be honest with you, Alan, where somebody said try CBD. I have no idea. But I did. I bought a little bottle of it and a few drops. Gave it a go and found it quite good. I found it and then we will get into the different dosage and all those kind of things. But just I found it quite relaxing. And I started taking it when I was going to jiu-jitsu, and now that it wasn't because I was worried someone was going to choke me. They were going to choke me regardless whether I had oil or not. But I found that when I was going into groups of people, that it helped me just to settle down a bit and be able to give me a little bit of a base to be able to kind of work off. Yeah. So obviously I haven't been using it as much in the last year or so because jiu-jitsu hasn't been on. But just 2 weeks ago, I think it was around the time I got in contact with you, actually. I was one night I was quite anxious and I hadn't worked out at all. I hadn't ran or anything, and I was thinking maybe I should take some CBD. It was about 7:30 in the evening. I took a few drops of it. I went to bed about 2 hours later. I was lying in bed listening to music, and I was kind of just very, very chilled out. And it for that to happen to me, it takes an awful lot to kind of, if I was to do it on my own, no CBD, no anything, it'd be very, very difficult. And that's kind of my experience with CBD. It helps me to relax an awful lot, and it's quite interesting just from this is my first time hearing what your experiences were, and you were taking it for completely different reasons, and it worked for that as well. So it just shows, like, you know, that these kind of things do work. Like, what I've always worried about when I've told people about the fact that I take CBD, you know, the kind of misconceptions of it. Have you come across that, like any misconceptions of what it actually is?
Yeah, obviously, every day we'll get messages, and people will think, "Can you get high?" And it's either one person or the other. So it's either somebody that wants to get high or somebody that's concerned of getting high.
Okay.
And when you tell people you don't get high from it, they either say, "Okay, fair enough, that's not for me," or then you just tell them, right, this is. So that's the main misconception, is that you get high from CBD,
Yeah.
when you absolutely don't.
Yeah, I used to smoke weed and hash, and it never suited me, I would say. But it's just, you do it anyway because, you know, you're in a group of friends and you all do it. You're out enjoying yourselves or whatever, having a few drinks, and you smoke a joint or whatever it might be. And I always found that, like, you know, on the very odd occasion, on the very rare occasion, it would relax me. But for the most part, I would be quite worried about things. Like, it was almost multiplying my anxiety. You know, I'd have a bit of panic, a little bit of paranoia sometimes, you know, about, I'd have a little pain in one of my muscles here or my arm, and I think, oh, I'm having a heart attack. You know, this kind of stuff that does multiply a number of times. So CBD compared to it is that's the whole thing. When I was talking to my dad about it, I was telling him he didn't know anything about it, and I was telling him, look, when I mentioned the cannabis thing, obviously he was a little bit, you know, okay, what's going on here, but I kind of reassured him. I was actually talking to my grandfather about it the other day. He's 94 this month, and he was like, maybe I could do with a bit of that. And I was like, yeah, go for it. Get in there, you know. But yeah, so, like, as you continue to take it, like, do you continue to take it for your knee now, or do you take it for other reasons?
I suppose I just take it as the way I take multivitamins in a day now. I obviously don't do so much physically demanding work anymore. Try to do a lot of stretching. Try to just to keep myself fresh. And I'm sitting at a desk a lot now, so I still take it on an ongoing basis. Just take it to relax, I suppose. The other day I had a bit of a panic moment on a Zoom where I kind of just clicked the leave. I got and it's really strange because I do live videos all the time. It's such a psychological thing, the way the mind works. Like, I jump on a live on Facebook and I talk, and there'd be like 60, 70 people tuned in or whatever. Even if there's 2 or 3, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Still people looking at you, and I don't bat an eyelid. And then I'm in this networking, business networking, and every week we have a 60-second pitch. And I actually done a 10-minute pitch there last 10-minute a little presentation, 10 minutes last week, and it was totally fine. And then just there on Friday, I had a little 4-minute slot to fill in, just to do a little chat. And I said, right, I'll do it without notes, you know, and like I would on Facebook Live. And I just talking about something that I know all the time, and it's easy. And 60 seconds in, I just choked on my stomach. I had a coffee before it as well, so the anxiety was probably the worst thing to do. And I just choked. I couldn't get the words out. Anxiety in my stomach, and I just clicked leave. I left the meeting and I just jumped out. I had a bit. I was like, I couldn't, so I had no notes to kind of fall back on, and that was it. Boy, it was crazy.
One of those moments, like, but do you know those videos you do on Instagram? I know that I think they're TikTok videos you do, but you stick them up on Instagram. That I would definitely ask anybody listening to this to follow Ceelabb over there. It's Ceelabb. We will put it up again. We'll put it up on our page too. But I think what is very important over there, Alan, is like what you do with regards to, you know, people are asking you questions, different questions all the time, like you mentioned just there, and you know, to give people reassurance about maybe they're nervous about taking it because they just, you know, don't know what it is, haven't done the research, whatever it might be. But, you know, also those kind of short videos, I think people take on things a lot better, you know, because they're just like a nice little compacted piece of information. and like the questions they were asking you, like about the drops, the gummies that you have coming out and things like that.
Yep.
When you started those, like how? Because I'm interested in when I started doing this, and the stuff that I do on Instagram. How were you about those kind of thing? Like the camera thing, it is a very weird psychological thing when you press record, isn't it?
Yeah, I have this thing where like I can go live and I can talk for whatever length of time, and just if I can just ramble on and talk, and if I have notes there beside me, I'll cover loads of issues or loads of points that I have that I want to get across. But and if I make a mistake in the moment, I rectify it in the moment. But for some reason, I just can't, and I'm fully myself as well. I'm being myself. But for some reason it's hard for me to just the quick ones, like the quick story posts. I'll record them like 4 or 5 times, before, and it's weird because they're the same thing ultimately, but I just can't. Just when you hold it down, the button down, that's it. It's just really difficult for me at the moment. Well, it's always.
Can I ask you though, like just on that, like with the short, like I do know what you mean actually by the shorter ones. To be honest with you, I do find the thing that I think I find hard about the shorter ones, because you kind of, like you say, you've no notes. You've got maybe 5-6 sentences in your head of what you want to say, but then you feel in those sentences that you haven't quite covered exactly what you want to say, and you still have to make it short. It's like the Instagram when you have to do 1 minute. If you go over 1 minute, you have to go on to IGTV. To me, that's kind of tough. Like, where I really want to explain myself, but maybe I just waffle too much. Maybe that's what it is.
I suppose, the short ones, that's even on TikTok. The shorter it is, the better. Even the algorithm, the way the algorithm works is, and it's well, I suppose it's a science, really, just trying to figure it all out. You could put loads of time and effort into one video, and it just flops, and then you just you do another video quickly and just post it, and that's it, and just blows up out of nowhere,
It's very, very odd. Let me just read out an ad here, talking of notes, and we'll get back to them. Fusion Training Centre, Monksland Athlone. A place to train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing, martial arts and CrossFit. A great atmosphere with experienced coaches and a real sense of community. If you want to join the team, find us on Facebook at Fusion Training Centre or drop in for a chat. Fusion Training Centre. Train like a warrior. Yet to know when that's going to open up, obviously, but keep it. I'll still do the ads all the way through, but we will get back in there eventually to do some training. So Alan, it's a big jump to go from like what you were doing, an electrician, to starting your own company. What was the kind of turning point? What was the thing that did it for you to push you into the decision?
So I left my job in 2018. I always kind of wanted to start a business, and I have started businesses in the past, but they've all failed. And they failed because I didn't fully commit, I suppose. And I remember I was working November. I was actually working when I quit my job. I was actually working as an electrician, and I was working. I was working in a pharmaceutical company at the time, and it was dark November, and the walk to the place was long and windy, and I had started, my business was started already, so it was up and running 6 months, and I was juggling both, and like I was cycling to work at the time, and everything, my thoughts from the minute I got on the bike to the minute I got off the bike, I suppose all day long, I was just thinking about CBD and the business, everything. I was just thinking of ideas and what I could do, and that kind of reflected in my work. Where I was working, the high standard of work was expected, and my work was being affected by it. So eventually, somebody pulled me up on it, one of the foremen, and they said, "Well, this is not good enough here. It needs to be rectified, and it needs to be better." And I said to him, Yeah, no bother. That's grand. I was just had my mind on other things, and it won't happen again. And he turned his back, and he walked about 10 yards away, and he didn't even get 10 yards away. I said, actually, I just want to hand me notice in, because I have another business at the moment. I'm thinking about it a lot, and I just want to put all my time and effort into that. And yeah, that was it. I just decided to hand the notice in. It was dark November morning, and I just wasn't feeling it. And I wanted to just take the leap of faith. I suppose that's what I had to do.
Yeah, I look, I haven't ran any businesses myself, but I guess it is a big decision to make, to kind of go into something that you're kind of it's almost like jumping over a plane without a parachute kind of a thing. But I think it's great when people do it, and it's very brave. And I'm glad for that cold November morning that you were able to kind of move on and do something that you really enjoy doing. So when it comes to the product, then, what are the ways that people can consume CBD?
CBD can be put into anything. So it gets extracted from the plant, and then that's when it can be put into anything. There's actually a company in the United States that put it into their burgers just there last year. So it can be put into anything, but it generally is a health food product. We put it into oils, so oral drops. It also goes into vape oils, which can be consumed with a vape pen. They're all nicotine free as well. So which they can, if you are, well, we don't recommend that you start vaping if you don't vape already, but if you do vape and you wanted to mix it with nicotine, that's totally fine. And now we had a coffee there for a while, and we've kind of discontinued it, but CBD can be put into anything. And the new product that we have coming now is CBD gummies. And that will be, hopefully, if all goes to plan, we're currently designing the labels at the moment and just trying to fit all the pieces together and launch it in 2 weeks.
There's a couple of questions I have on that, right? So I know you're discontinued the coffee, but it's just something that I wanted to kind of ask you on it, because I don't drink coffee. I don't particularly like the taste of it. I really just drink tea. That's my thing. Yeah. But coffee, I think you mentioned earlier on about anxiety with regards to coffee, because when I drink a coffee, I do feel quite anxious, like a little bit, stressed isn't the right word, but just a little bit wound up. Like, so when the CBD is in with the coffee, is there like a clash there? What kind of effect does it have?
Yeah, so CBD is calming, will help you relax, help you unwind, and coffee is it's a stimulant. It will wake you up. It will keep you focused. It will make you want to stay awake, I suppose. And people say, why would you mix the two? But a lot of people do get anxiety from drinking coffee. They get the jitters, what's known as the coffee jitters. They get the sweaty palms, and they get the heart palpitations. And when you introduce CBD and coffee together, the CBD will balance you out. It will reduce the anxiety. It will reduce the sweaty palms, and the coffee will still do its coffee job, where it will keep you alert, and the alertness and the focusedness. But we did have it. It was very expensive for coffee. It's a very expensive process as well to infuse it. Whereas all you need to do, instead of drinking CBD coffee, is all you need to do is take CBD drops before or after your coffee, and then it does the exact same job.
Right.
So instead of infusing them together, we just decided, if you want to have a coffee, just take CBD with it, and it will reduce that anxiety that's associated with coffee.
Makes a lot of sense. So when it comes to the drops thing, because I'm very interested in these drops, or not drops, sorry, gums. I'm very interested in because I personally, the taste of the CBD oil, it's not terrible for me. It's it's not. I'm not kind of afterwards, making a face or anything like that. But I know people who really don't like the taste of the CBD oil. They'll still take it, obviously. But if they didn't have to, if they could change the flavor, great. But you have been talking about the drops online. I keep saying drops, and I know it's not drops, it's gummies. But the gummies, so it's a 25 milligram within the gummy. And would your suggestion be for maybe 25 milligrams a good dose for the day?
Depends. Like generally, people with anxiety will use between 10 and 40 milligrams of CBD per day. That varies per person because your anxiety may be worse than mine. And then you have all other different variables as well. So you have like somebody's weight, their height, their metabolism, and also fats as well. Healthy fats that you consume will also increase. That will increase how much actual CBD gets into your body. So, 25 milligrams would be a good kind of daily dose. You can cut them up if you wanted to. So if you can get the same results with a quarter of one of the gummies, or so there's no reason for why you don't just cut it into two, and you can maybe take 12 milligrams. So it depends on the person really. But yeah, generally with people with pain, they will be up in the high 30 to 70 milligrams per day. So they could be taking two gummy drops a day. Now you have me saying drops as well. I'm calling them gummy drops now.
Do you know what the problem? Do you know what the problem is, Alan? There is something called gumdrops, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I suppose. Well, I don't know. I can't think of a product that's called gumdrops.
I think there's small little jellies, very, very small little jellies with a bit of sugar on them. I think they're called gumdrops. And I think that's what's in my mind. But we're obviously talking about gummies here. When it comes to again, people might not know this, but when you're the product you sell, is it you sell it by different size bottles, I guess?
Yeah, so it comes in different strengths. Comes in 300 milligrams, 500 milligrams, 1,000 or 2,000 milligrams. Now, they're all essentially the same thing. It just means there's more. It's like going into a shop and buying one bottle of water, or you buy a 6-pack. So, the 6-pack obviously going to last you longer. So the 300 milligram bottle you go through really, really quickly because you'd use an awful lot more of it to get the same results as you would for the 2,000 milligram, for example. So that's the best way to look at CBD. Percentages generally kind of there's a lot of CBDs that have percentage on them and milligram. Very, very confusing for the consumer to say, right, what's this and what's that. And I think the best metric to look at CBD is milligrams. It's like when you go to the doctor, they don't tell you, here's a 3% pack of ibuprofen. They say, no, here's a pack of ibuprofen that you take 5 milligrams every single day. So you can break up your dosage really, 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 really easy when it's in milligrams. So you have 1,000 milligrams and you take 10 milligrams, there's going to be 990 left.
Yeah,
like you said with the gummies, they're precise. So you know exactly, right? So with the dropper, you may take a little bit more or a little bit less. Whereas the gummies, if you're on the go every day and you don't have time to measure out drops, and 25 milligrams is your dosage, that's it. You just take one gummy and that's it. You're getting 25 milligrams of CBD.
Yeah, I that's why I think that's why I prefer the idea of them, and I'm looking forward to trying them. You're right though, the percentage thing was quite confusing at the start for me. I didn't know, because obviously there's a milligram on the box, and then I'm not knowing what the percentage was, so and I do like, once I'm over with these bottles that I do have, I will be getting your bottles, trust me. But while I'm doing these, I've got kind of ones dotted around the couple of rooms I have, and there's like percentages on it, and I'm kind of going, I still don't know what it is, what it means, but they'll be done soon enough, and it'd be good. But one thing I didn't actually have written out as part of this episode was, and you talked about it yesterday on Instagram, somebody had put in a question about they get no effect from the product that they're using. They don't feel any effects from it. And you pointed out that some of the CBD branding is, it may not even have that much CBD in it, or the same amount as they're telling you. Yeah,
exactly. Like I suppose the CBD industry is completely unregulated. There's no rules to say that whatever's on the bottle is actually in the bottle, and there's nothing stopping people taking advantage of this industry, which is a billion-dollar industry and growing all the time, and then they're obviously taking advantage of vulnerable people as well and doing them out of money. So it's important, if you do buy CBD, it's important that you that the product it can be backed up to say what's on the bottle is actually in the bottle. So with us, we have a batch number on the bottom of the bottle, and you can send that batch number to us, and we will send you back the corresponding lab report that will go with that. Now with the gummies are a new product, and the labeling is going to have a QR code on it. So the QR code, you'll be able to scan it, and the QR code will pop up the lab report for you on your phone, and that's it.
Oh.
So that's another way we're trying to build trust with our
Yeah.
customers to say what's on the bottle is actually in the bottle. There was an investigation on BBC. You can check it out. Lots of CBD companies were tested, and they took a lot of them off the high street shops, and they took them in, they tested them, and a lot of them came back with little to no CBD contained in the bottle.
Oh God! See, that's kind of, yeah, and like you say about the unregulated thing, it's kind of, I've spoken to people in different professions and different positions where things are unregulated, and it just gives so much room for chancers to kind of get in there and do what they want to do. I remember I was going into training, obviously a couple of years ago now. And I was waiting outside. We were waiting outside off the mats, jiu-jitsu crowd, and there's the kickboxing crowd. And I heard somebody inside there must have heard me say CBD or heard CBD, and they came out and they were like, that's terrible or whatever, And or it doesn't work or something. And I was like, no, I'm literally after taking a few drops of it, and I know for a fact it works because I'm quite calm now and I feel good. But then, when you talked about that yesterday, I was wondering, would it be possible, maybe that guy had taken some product that had no CBD in it in the first place, and then it puts the kind of bad spin on it from his side of things. So yeah, it's just something that you pointed out yesterday, I was kind of thinking, yeah, of course, unregulated stuff, people can tend to do what they want. How did your this is kind of a different question, I suppose, but how did your family how did they feel or react when you told them about your switch in careers?
I don't know, to be honest. Like, my dad always kind of had businesses growing up, and none of them really took off from, I suppose. But they were supportive, I suppose. My girlfriend's dad, he's always trying to tell you the worst things that happens. And he's been calling a recession for the last 10 years. He'd be like, oh, there's a recession coming around the corner, and he's and eventually there is, I suppose, we're technically in a recession now. He's like, I told you there's a recession coming, and we were literally, the main reason I say that is because we were opening up a shop, because last year, this time last year, actually, we were actually opening up a shop in the city centre. It was going to be a CBD dispensary / cafe. Everybody would be welcome. We would do normal tea and coffee as well. And we were literally, we had the keys we had the keys. We had the floor plans done. We had the landlord was a nice guy, gave us the keys before the lease was signed. And it was actually around early March. And what happened was Patrick's Day parade was cancelled. The schools were closed, and I'm not sure if there's the first case of corona, but I think it was one of the cases were rising, and events were being cancelled all over the place. And then we hadn't signed on the dotted line yet, and what happened was their solicitor took 3.5 weeks to respond, and in that 3.5 weeks, all of the stuff that I just mentioned had happened. And then we were like, maybe we'll just double down online and we'll put this on pause. My solicitor actually said it to me. He said, I'm not comfortable acting in this situation. Put it on pause till 2021. And we did. We doubled down on online, and we done well from the year. Our business actually grew. We probably would have grew even more if we had have opened up a shop. But that's why I mentioned that story, because we were opening up a shop, and he was like, oh, overheads and all this, and trying to tell you all the worst things that could happen. But I suppose they're supportive enough, but yeah, they're just trying to tell you the worst things that can happen.
Yeah, look, I mean, there has to be the pessimistic side of things too, because sometimes it's not the worst thing to be pessimistic in certain situations. I mean, we had a guest on there maybe 3-4 weeks ago, and he opened his gym 2 or 3 weeks before this all happened, so there's that, those kind of side of things that just people were so close to doing one thing or the other. Yeah.
Yeah, we were lucky. Like we would have been, we were signing a 5-year lease, in the city, it was in a tourist zone where there's no tourists now. It was in an office zone. There's no offices now. We would have been closed for the most part, and we probably would have been serving from a hatch. I know some of the coffee shops are doing quite well in the local areas, but in the city centre it would have been a complete disaster. So we are very fortunate that that happened, and we didn't sign a lease, and we're fortunate that definitely happened.
It is. I didn't say it already, but your partner works full time with you. Is that right?
Yeah, she works in the company as well. Yeah, definitely. She actually quit her job before I quit my job.
Okay.
So it's my business. And she's actually setting up her own business as we speak. She hasn't fully started yet, but in the process of it. My business. She works for the company, and yeah, she was the one that took the leap of faith before I did, and she was working on it before I was like putting all my attention to it.
It's very refreshing. I don't know. There's something quite nice about a partnership. Two people working together, and they're in a relationship as well. There's something quite nice about that, I think. And everybody always thinks, and we'll talk about the pessimistic side again. Everybody always thinks that would be very stressful, like, because you live together, you work together. I'm sure you've heard this before of people, and they're like, you live together, you work together. Like, how is it? Does it suit the two of you?
Oh yeah, 100%. She wasn't happy in the company that she was working. She wasn't happy there, so she left, and now she's happy doing doing the work that she wants to do, and yeah, we're a couple and we work together, and people say, oh Jesus, I wouldn't be able to do that, but yeah, we do get on really well, and we do have good days, bad days, and but in general, it's a good partnership.
Yeah, it's
in
great.
Work and in relationship as well. So yeah. We're all good. She's sitting to the side of me. She stands to the side of me here, dancing the way she's doing.
And I put you it's such an awkward position. I put you in there. I didn't realize she was in the same room.
No, no. She heard her name and she popped her head in.
I see. Nice. So can I ask you then about new products, like, because obviously you're talking about the gummies coming out, but how do you go about is it something that you're always doing? You're always looking for kind of the new product to see if it will work for you?
Well, we haven't changed our product line in a long time now. Like, we just generally we have our drops, which are hugely successful for us. The 2,000 milligram CBD drops is our most successful product. It creates the most amount of returning customers that specific product than any other product. And yeah, like, obviously we are introducing the gummies now, but yeah, we will try to expand the range. We're working with a guy now at the moment, and he's saying that a business needs 3 pillars or 3 legs, and because you need to, if one's area of it fails, you still have 2 left to fall back on. So yeah, we will be looking at trying to maybe grow it into different areas, stuff that I believe in, something that I'm passionate about as well. Maybe sustainable products or something like that. I do use sustainable products, and it might be something that we can kind of try to wind into what we do as well, like maybe hemp based sustainable products, because hemp can be used to make over 50,000 products. There's so many companies that you wouldn't even think of now that use hemp, like BMW, Mercedes. They all make all the plastic that they use for the bumpers and the wing mirrors, all made from hemp. I think now I don't know if this is 100% true, but I've seen it online. Apparently Lego are shifting from plastic to hemp, and it will be biodegradable version of plastic.
Wow. Yeah, like I suppose, like you were saying at the start there, really, that they put it. You can put like CBD in kind of anything, and I know you've spoken about coffee and things like that, and obviously there's teas you can get it in and all that kind of stuff. There is obviously you don't want to go crazy and start putting in like, I mean, as far as your business goes, you start putting in everything and then, like, throwing it out there. But you have to be careful in that kind of sense. But it is kind of a cool thing that there is a lot of ways that you can market that product.
Yeah, like as I said, we had coffee. We discontinued it. It's too expensive, and for what it done, it wasn't worth it. So we discontinued it. And we will try to, and it's very expensive as well. Like lab reports are very expensive.
Okay.
So like every individual product per SKU. So like per the 300 mil, like everything comes from the same batch. It all comes from the same batch, but once you break it up into different, so you have the 300 milligrams, then you have, so for example, we have 300 milligrams, 500, 1,000, 2,000. So just based on that, there's 4 lab reports, but we have it in hemp flavored and we have it in multivitamins and turmeric. So there's eight lab reports, and and you have to do it per batch, and they just get very, very expensive. So a small product line that is effective suits us best. But we are trying to grow our wholesale, so that's what we're trying to get into more shops. That's one of the legs that we want to grow. So get into more shops. We're in a few at the moment, not many. Most of our sales come through retail customers. But yeah, we want to. That's one thing we want to make it more accessible to people in shops.
Yeah, but like push it out there. So how, like, because people who start their own business, it's always different depending on the person and on the business itself. But how time consuming is it? Is it one? Do you do a 9 to 5 shift? Is it out of your control where you do a 9 to 5 shift? What's the story with that?
I stick to a routine. I get up in the morning, and I'll work the normal hours that I would do. I make sure I take a break as well. I take a break at lunchtime. So I do have a structure. It is structured, but it never stops.
Yeah.
Like it's Sunday now here, and I'm just doing a little bit here and there. I won't do a full day, as I would on a Monday. But I am still checking on. I'm still doing social media. I'm still doing everything really. Like I'm just tapping away, doing little bits of it, and it never really stops. And I was just talking to another guy that I know today. He was like, I never get a break. Like he's and I was like, you have to schedule it into your schedule. Like you need to schedule in breaks. Like we did go out get a coffee today. It's not a full work day. I still will come home and do a little bit. But yeah, it is, as if you have a small business, it becomes part of you, and but you feel a lot better about it. Like obviously, I was seeing a tweet there yesterday, and it was like, I can't remember. I just seen it there today. Actually, I was on TikTok, and somebody said, "Oh yeah, start a business. It'll be fun." And here I am doing the night shift in my own home.
Yeah. That's what I'm kind of. I suppose that's what I'm wondering, Alan, because it's like, it's like you're saying you're tapping away on things. Like for other people, it's like Sunday and it's nothing. They're off. Like, but you clearly enjoy it.
Oh yeah, I love it now because like I love business and I like helping people as well, and it's good. I like it because it's like a game. You're always trying to figure out something. Like CBD is very challenging to market. We can't do any Facebook ads, any Instagram ads. We can't do we can't even accept payments through PayPal or Stripe. So it's fun. Like it's stressful, but it can be. Well, it was stressful when PayPal shut us down and we had no payment processor. We actually nearly went out of business.
Wow.
And because of that, we were struggling to find a merchant to accept our payments. But yeah, it's like a puzzle. You're always kind of, and every business owner is trying to put the puzzle together. But it is fun. I do enjoy it. And it's I don't see myself going back to destruction anytime soon.
That's fair. So speaking of things you enjoy, what do you like to do in your spare time then? If you get any spare time.
Yeah, I like coffee. I like going out walking the dog. I do swim in the sea. Every now and I was doing it very regular, but now with the 5K thing, I haven't done it in a while. I have the cold showers going every day. That's just built into my daily routine now. Doing them like maybe a year and a half now. So I'm just used to it. Muscle memory. I can't even have a normal shower anymore because
is this a Wim Hof thing? No.
Well, Wim Hof is something that I have done the Wim Hof before. He would have been considered a madman back in the day, and now everything that he says is all backed up by science. And now there's people paying thousands to go out and climb up the mountains in them in the pair of shorts and no top on, jump into ice cold baths and stuff like that. And he's kind of a bit of a celebrity now. But yeah, everything that he does now is kind of clinically backed up by science. And yeah, I do the cold showers. It just starts my day perfect. Especially in the winter time. When you jump out of a hot shower into a freezing cold bathroom, it's totally different to jumping out of a cold shower into a roasting hot bathroom. You know?
Yeah.
And it's essentially the same bathroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you put the shower on for 60 seconds on cold, it just wakes you up and you get an adrenaline rush. And now, as I said, it's muscle memory for me. I can't even have a normal shower anymore because it's instinct. I just flip it to cold.
It's clinically proven about. I know the shower it makes sense obviously because you're restricted at the moment, but what I'm talking about, like swimming in the sea, it is proven to be very beneficial to mental health as well as a physical health and all sorts of reactions within the body. So like we just spoke before we started recording about like you're pretty good at kind of checking in with yourself, like making sure that you do take those breaks, you do go for those walks. You're aware that it's something that you need to do.
Yeah, like in the morning time, I do stretching. I don't do it as much as I should, but I do it. I suppose I wouldn't be. Yeah, I definitely. I think it's just a habit now. Like we take our breaks at 1 o'clock. We have a lunch break, a normal lunch break, and the 10,000 steps thing. Because we're in lockdown and because we have an office job, an office job. Yeah, we're working from home. We are technically we have an office. We turned a whole room into our house into an office. But yeah, we are aware that we don't get as many steps as we were getting originally, and it's actually quite difficult to get the 10,000 steps in. In order for that, we need to go out, bring the dog out for 3 walks a day, and we try our best. We definitely get to 2 all the time, first thing in the morning, and it's kind of like walking to work, gives you that kind of that structure. You have to you got up and you got dressed and you're going out to walk the dog, but you're actually walking to work.
And to be fair to you, it's a big dog that you have too.
Oh yeah. And yes, he needs to get out all the time. He's probably listening to me now. I'm saying walk a lot, and he's probably in the other room listening to me. But yeah, he needs to get out and get the steps in. And I've met like the only people that we're really talking to at the moment these days is other people with dogs, because we go out into the grass and we let the dogs go play, and we're just talking to other people. And it's the amount of people that bumped into that have just got a dog in lockdown, and it's the only reason that they're getting out, and they're working from home, and the dog is actually, so I'd highly recommend it. But if you were getting a dog, like my dog is a rescue dog, I believe that dogs should be rescued rather than bought from puppy farms. So I don't believe in people making profits off these terrible, horrible places. Yeah, a cute dog comes from it, but where the environment that they come from is not right. Like, so there's hundreds of dogs looking for a home, and if you do want to get a reason to get out of the house during the day, get a dog, rescue a dog, definitely, and you'll get so much fulfillment from that as well.
Yeah, even I did know that you were trying to teach your dog to talk there recently, which was a good thing to see. He was loving it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's we have him 4 years now. We never asked him to. We do the sit, we do the paw. Never actually asked him to speak, and he picked it up really, really quickly. And now he just thinks when there's food around, if you bark, that's in. Now he just barks at you when you have your dinner, and he just looks at you and he shouts. He's just shouting at you basically, and he's like, right, this means food, like, you know. So now he thinks if you bark, you get food.
It's the Pavlov dogs effect, isn't it? They're quite clever, and they do know what a routine is like. So when you're chilling out then at home, when I'm always interested in finding out what people like to do when they're at home and it's dark on a winter's evening. Like, are you a TV man, music? What kind of stuff do you like to do?
My girlfriend, she watches a lot of Netflix. I join in every now and then. I wouldn't watch as much as she does. She'd probably, for every 6 things she's watching, I'll watch one of them, like, you know. And if it's anything that like, I have this thing in my head about commitments towards, like, giving up so much of your life towards, like, if there's like Breaking Bad. I've never seen Breaking Bad, but I know everybody loved it, you know. I never seen Game of Thrones, but I know that there's hundreds and hundreds of episodes, and it's just, you have to. It will take up so much of your time, and you have to sit down and watch it. But that's it.
I'm with you on that. Because, like, I don't like watching TV series that much, and I think the problem is we grew up with the old style where you watched an episode and a week later the next episode was on, and you waited because you had to. But now with it being like it's all consuming, you can watch it all in like a day, or maybe not a day with Game of Thrones or something like that, but you can watch it over the course of a week for about 5 or 6 hours. That for me is not good. I know it's not good for me. I like to sit down and just watch something for 6 hours. So I haven't caught up with. I did see Breaking Bad a few years ago actually, but I haven't caught up with any of, like, people are always on me with Sopranos. Like, oh, watch the Sopranos. I'm sure it's deadly, but I'm not watching. 1,400 hours of the Sopranos. It's not happening for me. But each to their own, isn't it?
I like when the season is, like, we watched a few things, and when it's over, and like, right, they release the episodes on a weekly basis. Like, I like when it's over, and you're like, right, that's that done. It'll be back next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, okay. and then if we have a few shows that we're watching, and then they just roll in every now and then, you just kind of watch them.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I think I'm a big film fan more than TV shows, but I get you. What's the story then with plans for the future? Both within the business and without the business, if that makes sense.
I would still like to open up a shop, definitely. It would be great to open up somewhere and become part of a community, definitely. If we are going to do it, it's probably going to be late 21.
Yeah.
That's the business side of things. Personal, I don't know really, to be honest. The life at the moment is just the only thing I really do at the moment is go out and walk the dog. I don't really have any. It's probably something I probably should sit down and think of. I don't actually have any personal, like, it'd be great to travel again, it'd be really good to be able to travel again. I do have, I did book something for September within Ireland, and I thought, right, being reasonable, booked it in December, right, we'll book it in Ireland, and hopefully in September, we'll be able to do it, we'll be able to travel there. And I didn't book it outside of Ireland because in case that you see all the people on Ryanair's comment section demanding refunds. So, I didn't book anything. But yeah, it would be great to travel again. I'd love to start traveling again. I really, really like traveling.
I realize what a difficult question that is, and it's especially now. And I think once we move out of this and we're back to normal as such, I think then people will be. It's going to be so much an easier question for people to answer. So I understand it's difficult, but so Alan, where can people find you and follow you and check out the business in that?
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're just starting to build up our TikTok again. We have about 500 followers there on it now in 3 days. we did have account. We did have an account with 80,000 followers, and that got deleted on us. But yeah. So TikTok is a good one. I suppose I could do it if anybody listening. I haven't created a code here now, but if anybody listening does want to try CBD, I'd be absolutely delighted to offer anybody 20% off.
Brilliant.
Have to make up a code now. On the spot. What would we call it? A discount code? I'll have to create it.
What we call it? Oh wow! Now I've been put on the spot with a question. That's the worst thing that happens to the podcast when I have to answer a question. How many letters and numbers do we have to make it?
It doesn't matter. Just we can call whatever. It doesn't matter.
We'll call it
not too hard.
We'll call it WWP because that's the weekly podcast.
Yeah.
And then we'll
WWP
20. Yes, because that's when it started.
So I'll write that down because I still have to create it. And
brilliant. Yeah. No, that
on Patrick's Day they'll get it. So
just to WWP 20. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. I'll create that now today, and people can log on to Ceelabb.com, and if they do want to try CBD, more than happy to answer any questions if we haven't covered anything here today. There's a chat on the website, and there's a chat bot, and it'll get through to me or Laura, and we'd be happy to answer any questions.
That's brilliant. I will be putting all of this information up on our Facebook page and our Instagram page and things like that. So it'll all be up there as well, and people will be able to go into it. And I'm gonna take. I know I said I was gonna wait till those bottles were empty, but with a 20% discount here, we've got to get some action in on that, But I also want to say thank you very much to Stephen Hassey. Stephen is a friend of Alan's, and he is a friend of one of my closest friends, actually. And I met him a couple of times, and he's a dead sound fella. And he got in contact with me, and he alerted me to Alan's business. So I really appreciate Stephen doing that for us,
Yeah, thanks to Stephen. I met him in a business meeting, and he's using CBD as well. So yeah, it's great that we can help lots of people. That's the main goal, really, is to help as many people as possible.
That's exactly it. It's been a pleasure chatting to you, Alan. I really appreciate you coming on. On behalf of our listeners, for filling them in maybe on little gaps in their knowledge about CBD that they may have had some concerns about and stuff. So thank you so much for coming on.
No worries at all. It was good chatting to you. Nice Sunday, well spent, I suppose.
Yeah. Nice. Stick with me for 2 minutes because I want to get a photo at the end. I'll just finish out the episode, all right?
Yeah, of course.
So, thank you very much to John for all his technical prowess. As always, to my mum, happy Mother's Day on the day that's in it. To my dad, my granddad, who's hopefully we'll get him on CBD. We maybe get him on this discount, actually. Thank you very, very much to Jer for the graphics and Calvin for the music. Subscribe to our YouTube, like I said before. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And the podcast platforms, as always, are Spotify, Apple Anchor, Google Podcasts. There's a couple more. I never write them down. And thanks to everyone for listening. Of course, it's been a great episode. Thank you very much, Alan. And
Thank you. It was good.
You're welcome, and we will say for this week, and we'll talk to you next week. Take care. Bye.